I'm Diane Jones, and this is my nursery, Draggin Wing Farm in Boise. About 40% probably of my plants are native plants, so I'm really interested in encouraging people to appreciate our native landscape and bring native plants into their yards. And the rest are well-adapted low-water plants from other parts of the world or other parts of our country. Everybody has their own definition of native plants, and so it can be a very broad definition. Sometimes you'll see, native meaning North America. Well, that's too broad for me. Or native could mean this particular county in Idaho, and I think that's too narrow. So I've taken as my working definition of a native plant something that grows in the area that is similar in climate and elevation to this area, and I'm calling it northern high desert. So it's, roughly speaking, southern Idaho, eastern Oregon, northern Utah, northern Nevada, kind of an area in there which I see as a bioregion that's pretty similar, and plants that are native to that area usually do just wonderfully well right here in Boise. The benefits are that they evolved in this area. They're adapted to this area. They're adapted to our soils and our very challenging climate. So they're a lot easier to grow. One is not struggling to try to grow something that doesn't belong here. They're also well adapted to the insects that are native to this area. So if we want to encourage life in our garden, insect life and bird life, the first, most logical step is to introduce native plants back into the landscape. If I'm designing a landscape that we really want to be a very low maintenance landscape, particularly with regard to weeds, I plant it so that plants will come together and touch, especially thicker ground covers, 3 to 4 inches thick. So if you have that kind of landscape, especially if it's an evergreen year-round landscape, the ground's covered, you don't have weed seeds coming in and being able to propagate through that cover. That's one alternative. The other alternative would be, if you want to have space between plants, is to cover the ground between with a thick layer of mulch. That's the basic way to keep new weeds from coming into your garden. In an area like this where I've got solid coverage here, and these plants, for the most part, are evergreen, so these leaves are here all winter long, all summer long. There's not the opportunity for weed seeds to blow in here and germinate. And as a result, this is an extremely low maintenance landscape, almost no maintenance on this little piece of landscape. And I think it's an excellent example of what can be done if you want to create something that you just you don't mow, you don't fertilize, you water a little bit. There's not much that flowers in here, at least not a lot of flowering, so there's not much deadheading, and virtually no weeding, so it's low maintenance. It's great. The common thought is that we need lawn, right? People need to be able to walk across lawn. Kids love to play on lawn. And I think there is a place for lawn for certain games, that it is appropriate. But my experience with landscaping is that children and adults love pathways. And I see public spaces, parks, even homes where people have children and they want play areas. In my estimation, you can create a beautiful park environment which has plenty of walking, plenty of places for kids to play, plenty of secret forts, shrubs for kids to hide under, and so forth, that are low maintenance and attractive, don't require the same kind of major upkeep that lawn does, mowing, pesticides, herbicides, what have you, with lawns, that are really more inventive and more fun because of their creative use of pathways and planted beds, than just acres of lawn. I think there's been enough studies about herbicides and pesticides and the impact on human health that I don't want them in my environment, and I don't think it's good, for young children and any living thing to have, some of those chemicals in their environment. The more we find out about these things, the worse it appears that they are. If we're conscious of how we're gardening, we don't need them. We really don't need them. We can create beautiful landscapes without them. So why go there?